The night was silent, but the storm was not. Heavy snow covered everything in white. The wind moved like a wild force, cold and sharp, making it hard for anyone to even stand outside. It was the kind of storm where people stayed inside, locked their doors, and waited for it to pass. But Ethan was outside. He walked slowly through the deep snow, his body tired and cold. Each step felt heavier than the last.
Help me!
His breath came out in short clouds, disappearing quickly into the freezing air. He had lived alone in this remote place for years, far from any city, far from people. He was used to silence. He was used to being alone. But tonight felt different. There was something strange in the air, a feeling he could not explain. It was like something was pulling him, calling him without words. At first, he tried to ignore it. He told himself it was just the storm playing tricks on his mind. Then he heard it, a very soft sound. Ethan stopped walking immediately. He held his breath and listened carefully. The wind was loud, but beneath it, there it was again, weak, broken, almost like someone crying. His heart started to beat faster. "That's not the wind," he whispered to himself. He looked around, but all he could see was snow, endless white in every direction. For a moment, he thought he had imagined it. Then he saw something, a faint glow in the distance. It was small, almost hidden under the snow, but it was there. Not bright, not strong, just enough to be noticed. Ethan felt a sudden fear. Nothing should glow in a storm like this. His mind told him to turn back, to go home, to stay safe. But his heart refused. Someone needed help. Without thinking too much, he started moving toward the light. The snow became deeper as he walked, making it harder to move. The wind pushed against him strongly, almost forcing him to stop. But he kept going, step by step, closer and closer. The glow became clearer, and then he saw them. Two girls, lying in the snow. Ethan froze for a moment. They looked human, but something was not right.
Hey.
Their skin had a soft glow, pale and strange.
You're safe here.
Their hair shimmered slightly, even in the storm. Their clothes were thin,
They know we're
not made
here.
for this cold,
You have
not
to
made
run.
for this world. They were freezing.
Ethan, I know who
One
you
of them
are.
moved
They're
her hand slightly, shaking weakly. The other one did not move at all. "They're going to die," Ethan said quietly. Fear filled his mind again. Who were they? What were they? Was this safe? For a few seconds he stood there unsure. Then he made his choice. "I can't leave them." He quickly knelt down and brushed the snow away from their bodies. Their skin felt ice cold, colder than anything he had ever touched. But they were still alive. Barely. Ethan wasted no time. He carefully lifted one of them into his arms. She felt light, almost too light. Then he picked up the second girl, holding both of them with effort. The storm fought against him as he turned back. The walk to his cabin felt endless. His legs were heavy. His hands were losing strength. The cold was biting deeper into his body. But he did not stop. Not even once. Finally, through the white storm, he saw his cabin. A small wooden house standing alone in the snow. He rushed forward, pushed the door open and stepped inside. Warm air touched his face, but it was not enough. He quickly placed the two girls near the fire and covered them with thick blankets.
Don't push yourself.
Then he added more
have to
wood to the
try,
fire, trying to bring more heat into the room.
Something's happening to her.
"Come on, stay alive," he said quietly. Minutes passed. Nothing changed. Ethan sat close to them, watching carefully. His heart felt heavy. Maybe he was too late. Then suddenly, one of the girls moved. Her fingers twitched slightly. Her breathing became a little stronger. Ethan leaned closer. Slowly, her eyes opened. They glowed softly, not like human eyes. She looked directly at him, and in a weak, broken voice, she spoke. Ethan." Ethan froze. His body went still. He had never seen her before. He had never told her his name. So how did she know it? The fire crackled quietly behind him. But
They have
now,
been found.
The cabin didn't feel as safe as before. Ethan did not move for a long moment.
They're here.
The girl's glowing eyes were still fixed on his face.
Stay close.
Her breathing was weak but steady now. The fire beside them crackled softly, but the warmth in the room suddenly felt strange, almost unreal. "How do you know my name?" Ethan asked slowly. His voice was calm, but inside he felt a quiet fear growing. The girl did not answer right away. Her lips moved slightly, like she was trying to form words that did not come easily to her. She looked confused, as if even she did not understand what she had just said. "Safe," she whispered again. Ethan frowned. "You're safe, yeah. You're inside. You don't need to worry." But that was not the real question. How did she know his name? Before he could think more, the second girl suddenly took a deep breath. Her body moved under the blanket. Her chest rose quickly, like she had been underwater and finally reached air. Ethan turned toward her immediately. "Hey, easy," he said, moving closer. "You're okay." Her eyes opened. They glowed brighter than the first girl's. For a moment, she looked lost. Her eyes moved around the room, taking in everything. The fire, the walls, the shadows. Then they stopped on Ethan. She went completely still. "Human," she said quietly. The way she said it felt strange, like she had learned the word but never truly used it before. Ethan nodded slowly. "Yeah, I'm human. My name is Ethan." The two girls looked at each other. There were no words between them, but something passed. A silent understanding. It happened quickly, but Ethan noticed it. "You two can talk without speaking?" he asked. The first girl gave a small nod. Ethan let out a slow breath. "Okay, that's new." The second girl tried to sit up, but her body was still weak. She winced slightly, and Ethan quickly helped her, placing a hand behind her back. "Don't push yourself," he said. "You're still not fully okay." She looked at his hand for a moment, like she was studying it. Then she looked at his face again. "You helped us," she said. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, you were freezing out there."
Not anymore.
The girl stayed silent for a few seconds. Then she asked something simple. "Why?" That question caught Ethan off guard. He didn't expect it. "Because you needed help," he said after a moment. "That's all." The girls did not reply. But something in their expressions changed. The first girl slowly raised her hand and placed it on Ethan's arm. The moment she touched him, Ethan felt something strange. A soft warmth moved through his arm. Not from the fire, not from her skin. It felt deeper than that, like a quiet energy passing between them. He pulled his arm back slightly, surprised. The girl's eyes flickered. "Connection," she whispered. Ethan's heart started to beat faster again. "What does that mean?" he asked. But before she could answer, a sound came from outside. Crunch. Ethan froze. That sound was clear, too clear. It was not the wind. It was not the storm. It sounded like something stepping on snow. Slow. Heavy. Ethan stood up immediately. "Stay here," he said. The shadow under the door did not move. Ethan stood still, his eyes locked on it. The rifle in his hands felt heavier now, not because of its weight, but because he knew it might not be enough. No one spoke. Even the fire seemed quieter. Then the shadow shifted. Slowly, like something outside had just taken a step.
This does not concern
Crunch.
you.
The sound came again, right beside the cabin wall. Ethan took a slow breath and stepped closer to the door. Every instinct in his body told him to stay back, but something else pushed him forward. He needed to see. Behind him, the two girls sat close together now. Their earlier weakness was fading, but something else had taken its place. Their glowing skin was brighter, and their eyes were sharper, more aware. "They are not like anything here," the second girl said quietly. Ethan did not look back. "Yeah, I figured that." He slowly reached toward the small gap in the window and wiped away a bit of frost. For a moment he saw nothing. Then a shape appeared. Tall, too tall. It stood just outside the cabin, its body dark against the white snow. Its form looked almost human, but something about it was wrong. Too still, too perfect, like it was not alive in the normal way. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. What the hell? The thing moved its head slightly, and even though Ethan could not see its face clearly, he felt it. It was looking straight at him. Ethan stepped back quickly. "It's right outside," he said. The girls did not look surprised. "They always find us," the first one whispered. Ethan turned toward them. "Why? What did you do?" The girls looked at each other again. That same silent communication passed between them. Then the second girl spoke. "We ran." Ethan frowned. "From them?" She nodded. "They do not allow us to leave."
The parameters
Ethan's grip on the rifle tightened. "So they're not rescuing you. They're taking you back." The first girl shook her head slowly. "No," she said. "Not taking, controlling." Before Ethan could ask more, thud. Something hit the door. Hard. The wood shook, but it did not break. Ethan raised the rifle instantly, aiming at the door. "Back up," he said. The girls did not move away. Instead, they stood up slowly, their bodies still weak, but their presence stronger than before. Another thud, this time louder. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then, silence. A deep, heavy silence. Ethan's finger rested near the trigger. "What do they want from you?" he asked again, his voice lower now. The first girl answered this time. "Us." That simple word made everything clear. Another sound came from outside. Not a hit, not a step. A voice. Calm, cold, clear. "Open." Ethan froze. The voice did not sound human. It had no emotion, no anger, no warmth, just control. The second girl's eyes widened slightly. "They learned your language," she said. Ethan's mind struggled to understand that. "You mean, they just picked it up?" She nodded. "They adapt fast." The voice came again. "Open the door. You are holding what does not belong to you." Ethan felt anger rise in his chest. "They're not things," he said under his breath. He stepped closer to the door. "No," he said loudly. "You're not coming in." For a moment there was no reply. Then, a soft, quiet sound, almost like a laugh. "You do not understand what you protect," the voice said. Ethan's jaw tightened.
The answers you seek are here.
"Then explain it," he shot back.
We just needed the
Silence
right
again.
moment to tell you everything.
Then the first girl spoke softly from behind him.
The bond
"They will
allows
not
us
explain,"
to understand
she
each
said.
other on a deeper
"They will
level.
only take."
It connects our
Ethan
past
nodded
and our
slowly.
future.
"Yeah,
It doesn't
that sounds
matter
about
what
right."
happened before,
Outside,
We're
the
here
snow
now.
shifted again.
and that connection
More than
is
one
real.
movement this time. Ethan's eyes widened slightly. "There's more of them," he said. The second girl closed her eyes for a moment, like she was listening to something far away. "3," she said. Ethan let out a slow breath. "Great." He looked around the cabin quickly. One
It
door,
really is.
one window.
Everything
No
feels so
real
peaceful
escape.
now.
Yes.
"Is there any way to stop them?"
We
he
discussed it
asked.
at length, Ethan.
The girls
This
did
is
not
the path
answer
we've chosen.
immediately.
And we are ready
Then the
for
first one spoke.
consequences, whatever they may
"Not
be.
with what you have." Ethan gave a small, dry smile. "Good to know." The voice outside returned, stronger this time. "Last chance. Open." Ethan raised the rifle and pointed it directly at the door. "Or what?" he said. There was no answer, not in words. But the air changed. The temperature dropped suddenly, even with the fire still burning. The wood of the door creaked under pressure. Something outside was no longer waiting. It was preparing. Ethan's heart beat faster. Behind him, the girls moved closer, their glowing skin now brighter than ever. "Ethan," the second girl said softly. He did not look back. "Yeah? If you stay, you will be in danger." Ethan gave a small nod. "I already am." The first girl stepped closer. If you leave now, they may let you go. Ethan shook his head. Not happening. Silence filled the room again. But this time, it felt like the last quiet moment before something broke. Ethan tightened his grip on the rifle. His eyes stayed on the door. "Whatever's out there," he said quietly, "it's not taking you." Outside, something moved. Closer, faster, and in the next second, the door began to crack. The crack in the door spread like a thin line of ice breaking on a lake. Ethan stepped back, his rifle aimed straight at it. The wood trembled under pressure, as if something on the other side was not pushing, but forcing reality itself to open. Then the door burst inward. Cold air rushed in, sharp and sudden. Snow followed, spinning across the floor. The fire bent low, almost dying. Ethan fired. One shot. The sound exploded in the small cabin. The bullet hit the tall figure standing in the doorway, but it did not react. The surface of its body shifted slightly, like smooth liquid, and the bullet dropped to the ground. Useless. Ethan fired again. Same result. He lowered the rifle slowly. "Yeah, not working," he muttered. The figure stepped inside. Tall, dark, silent. Its shape was almost human, but not quite. Its body looked solid and fluid at the same time, like it could change if it wanted. No face, no eyes, only faint glowing lines moving across its surface. Behind it, two more shapes stood in the storm, watching, waiting. Ethan felt a deep pressure in the air, like the room had become too small. "Step aside," the creature said. Its voice was calm, controlled. Ethan did not move. No. The creature tilted its head slightly. "You are not part of this." Ethan tightened his grip on the empty rifle. "I am now." Behind him, the two sisters stood close together. Their earlier fear was still there, but something else had grown stronger. Their glow. It was brighter now, more alive. The strange symbols on their skin moved slowly, like quiet waves. "Ethan," Lyra said softly. Her voice felt different now, stronger. "Do not stand between." Ethan did not turn around. "I'm not letting them take you." Neera stepped forward, her glowing eyes fixed on the creature. "They will not stop," she said. "They cannot." Ethan gave a small nod. "Then I guess I won't either." The creature raised its hand. A shape formed from its arm, like the metal itself was growing into a weapon. It glowed with a cold light, steady and sharp. "Last warning," it said. Ethan took a slow breath. No. For a moment, everything went still. Then the creature fired. A thin beam of light shot forward, fast and precise. Ethan reacted without thinking. He raised his hand, and the beam stopped, right in front of him, frozen in the air. Ethan stared at it, shocked. What? Behind him, the sisters' glow flared brighter. The symbols on their skin lit up, moving faster now. "Ethan," Neera said quietly,
"Thank you for being here.
"you are connected." He turned slightly.
The silence is
Connected
incredible,
how?
isn't it? We should
Lyra
reach the
stepped
ridge by
closer and
sunset.
placed her hand on his
Beautiful,
shoulder.
Ethan. I hope
The
the
moment
weather
she
holds.
touched him,
The cold outside
a wave
is
of energy
unforgiving,
moved through
but
his body.
We're safe in here.
Not painful,
we share
but
this
powerful.
shelter now.
His vision blurred for a second, then sharpened. The world felt different, clearer, like he could feel more than just what he saw. He could feel them, both of them, not as separate people, but as something close, something shared. "This should not happen," Lyra said softly. Ethan's heart raced. "Then why is it happening?" Neera looked at him. "Because you chose us," she said. Ethan frowned. "That's it?" Lyra shook her head. "Not just that. You chose without fear, without reason, only care." Ethan stayed silent. He didn't know what to say to that. The frozen beam in front of him slowly faded into nothing. The creature stepped back. For the first time, it looked uncertain. "Energy anomaly confirmed," it said. Ethan looked back at it. "What does that mean?" No answer came. Instead, The creature lowered its weapon, slowly, carefully. Its glowing lines flickered slightly, like something inside it was adjusting. "You are no longer separate," it said. Ethan let out a small breath. "I'm starting to get that." The two other figures outside did not move. They were still watching, but they did not come closer. The first creature took another step back toward the doorway. "Direct retrieval is no longer stable," it said. Neera's expression softened slightly. "They cannot take us now," she said quietly.
What are you thinking
Ethan
about
looked at
right
her.
now?
"Because of this
You
bond?"
seem a million miles away.
Lyra nodded. "Yes." Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "So basically, by saving you, I made things more complicated." Neera gave a
I know
small,
it
gentle
seems like a lot
smile.
right now, but
"Yes."
we're safe here.
For a moment,
The
no
snow
one
will stop
spoke.
soon, and
The
we'll
storm
figure things out
outside was
together.
almost gone now.
This,
Only light snow remained, falling slowly. The creature paused at the doorway. Then it turned slightly toward Ethan. "Human," it said. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Yeah? This connection will have consequences." Ethan gave a tired smile. "Everything does." The creature stood still for a second longer. Then it stepped back into the snow. The other two figures moved with it, and slowly they disappeared into the fading storm. Gone, just like that. Ethan stood there, staring at the open doorway. The cold air moved gently inside now. No attack, no sound, only quiet. He lowered his hands slowly. Then he looked back at the sisters. They were still glowing, but softer now, calmer, like the storm inside them had ended too. Ethan took a deep breath. "Well," he said, "I think that could have gone worse." Neera let out a small laugh. "Yes, much worse." Lyra looked at Ethan, her eyes gentle. But it did not. Ethan nodded slowly. No, it didn't. But deep inside,
See
he
the way
knew
the
something.
sun catches the peaks.
This was not the end.
It's absolutely
This
silent
was
out
the
there
beginning.
now.
The storm was gone.
Rest here for a moment.
For the first
We'll
time
figure
in
this
many
out together,
hours,
just
the
like we
world
always do.
outside the cabin was quiet. Snow still covered everything, but it no longer felt dangerous. The wind had stopped, the sky slowly opened, and a pale light from the early morning began to spread across the white land. Inside the cabin, everything felt still. Ethan stood near the broken door, looking outside. The cold air moved gently now, not like before. It touched his face, but it did not hurt. Behind him, Lyra and Neera stood close together. Their glow was soft again, calm. The strange symbols on
It's
their
okay
skin
now.
were still there,
We're safe here.
but they were fading slowly, like something
safe
that had
here.
finished its purpose.
It's quiet now, but
Ethan took a
we
deep
both
breath.
know that doesn't mean we're safe.
"They're gone," he said quietly.
We need a
Lyra
plan.
nodded. "For now." Ethan turned around. "You don't sound very sure." Neera stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. "They will not forget," she said, "but they will not return the same way." Ethan leaned against the wall, tired. "Yeah, that sounds like bad news later." For a few seconds, no one spoke. The fire burned gently again, filling the room with warmth. The broken pieces of the door lay scattered on the floor, a reminder of what had just happened. Ethan looked at his hands. They felt normal, but he knew they were not. "That thing, the beam, I stopped it," he said slowly. "How?" Lyra walked closer to him. "You did not stop it alone," she said.
The rain stopped
Ethan
an hour
looked up
ago.
at her.
We're completely
"Then
safe
what did I
inside.
do?"
You can both
Neera
relax.
answered this time.
Well, I think
accepted the
that's
bond.
about it for tonight.
Ethan
getting
frowned
late.
slightly. "And that gives me powers now." Lyra shook her head softly. "Not powers," she said. "Connection." Ethan sighed. "That doesn't sound very helpful in a fight." Neera smiled a little. It was enough. Ethan couldn't argue with that. He looked between them. "So, what exactly is this bond?" Lyra paused for a moment, choosing her words carefully. "Our kind shares energy in rare moments," she said. "But this is different." Neera stepped beside her. This is not just sharing, she added. This is linking. Ethan crossed his arms. Linking how? Lyra looked directly into his eyes. Our lives are connected now. The words felt heavy. Ethan stayed quiet for a moment. It meaning? He asked. Neera answered gently. If you are hurt, we feel it. Lyra continued. If we are weak, you will feel it too. Ethan let out a slow breath. So we're stuck together. Lyra shook her head. No, she said calmly. We are together. That small difference in words made Ethan pause. He looked away for a second, thinking. Then he looked back at them. So, what happens now? The question was simple, but it carried everything. Neera and Lyra looked at each other. That silent connection again. But this time, Ethan could feel it too. Soft, clear, like a quiet conversation happening without sound. After a moment, Lyra spoke. We can return? Ethan's chest tightened slightly, though he didn't show it much. And if you do, he asked. Neera answered. The bond will weaken. Lyra added. Not fully break, but change. Ethan nodded slowly. And if you stay? Neera smiled softly. It grows stronger. Silence filled the room again. Ethan looked outside. The snow was peaceful now. The storm had left no sound behind. Everything looked clean, untouched, like nothing had ever happened. But he knew better. He looked back at them. You don't have to stay because of me, he said. Lyra shook her head. That is not why we would stay. Neera stepped closer. We would stay because we choose to. Ethan watched them carefully. You're serious? Neera nodded. Yes. Lyra's voice was calm but certain. You saved us without knowing what we are, Neera continued. You stood against them without fear. Ethan gave a small, tired smile. I was definitely scared. Lyra shook her head slightly. But you did not run. Ethan looked down for a moment, then back at them. So, you're choosing this place, this life? Neera smiled again. We are choosing you. Those words stayed in the air, quiet, strong, real. Ethan didn't answer right away. He just stood there, thinking about the storm, about the night, about the moment he decided to help two strangers in the snow. Everything had changed because of that one choice. Finally, he let out a small breath. Well, he said, I guess I should fix the door first. Neera laughed softly. That would be a good start. Lyra looked outside, then back at Ethan. The storm ended, she said, but something new has begun. Ethan nodded. Yeah, I can feel that. He looked at both of them, not as strangers, not as something unknown, but as something close, something real. I've been alone out here for a long time, he said quietly. Neera stepped beside him. You are not alone now. Lyra joined them. Not anymore,